It's a Friday right here on the San Francisco 49ers Report by Chat Sports. Chase Sr. here with you, and we have another loaded show coming your way. Adam Schefter with some interesting insight about this Niners 2025 schedule. And remember a couple of weeks ago how we talked about how San Francisco signed DJ Humphries, a Pro Bowler, former first-round pick, to be a backup offensive tackle for this team, a position of importance and need? Well, it looks as though the Niners never actually signed him. It's all coming your way right now, so let's do it. So by now, you know what the 49ers 2025 schedule is. It came out on Wednesday. We talked about it here on the show. Yesterday here on the 49ers Report, we did a deep dive, and I gave you all of the information that you need to know about the Niners 2025 slate. But what's this schedule set up? Because the NFL believes the 49ers will rebound and be a playoff and Super Bowl contender. We're going to get to that here on the show. Let's first take a look at this Niners 2025 schedule as a little bit of a refresher, or in case you missed it, because I know a lot of you are busy out there grinding, making things happen in your respective lives. The Niners will begin the 2025 season on the road against the Seattle Seahawks. Hostile rivalry here in the NFC West to ramp up what is going to be, I think, a successful season for the Niners as far as their win-loss total. Then the Niners go on the road once again, week 2, against the New Orleans Saints. If you're looking to book a trip going to New Orleans, to the Superdome, and experiencing the culture of New Orleans, a city that I believe is a one-of-a-kind city, not just in America, but worldwide, I suggest you go to the Big Easy down in the Bayou. Week 3, home opener for the Niners at Levi's Stadium against the Arizona Cardinals. San Francisco has a lot of divisional games early in the year, as you'll see here. Week 4, another home game against the Jacksonville Jaguars. Then the Niners hit the road on a short week to play the Rams on Thursday Night Football at Levi's Stadium South, otherwise known as SoFi Stadium, just outside of Los Angeles. Week 6, Niners go on the road with that mini bye because they play on Thursday Night Football against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Falcons on Sunday Night Football in Week 7, on the road against D'Amico Ryans and the Texans in Week 8. Then the Niners go across the country once again to play the New York Giants in Week 9, Week 10 at home against the Rams, Week 11, another divisional game on the road against the Cardinals in the desert. Week 12, Panthers come to Northern California, to Levi's Stadium, to play the Niners on Monday Night Football. Week 13, Niners on the road against the Browns. Can Kyle Shanahan finally beat Jim Schwartz? Bye week, it's late this year, all the way in Week 14. Niners come out of the bye. They host the Titans and Cam Ward in Week 15. Week 16 on the road against the Colts on Monday Night Football. A second consecutive primetime game against Caleb Williams and the Bears, but this time it's a home game. And then an affair with the Seahawks to round out the 2025 season at Levi's Stadium. So a lot of the Niners schedule takeaways that I have, we, of course, talked about them in that show yesterday. You don't want to miss it because it'll just make you a smarter Niner fan as far as some of the nuanced details of the schedule. And I'll refresh you with some of the news and notes that you need to know. 5 primetime games on the schedule for the Niners. I think that's pretty impressive considering they went 6-11 last year. For instance, the New Orleans Saints, they're going to be bad. They were bad last year. They have 0 primetime games. And so that speaks to the Niners having that marketable franchise and a worldwide brand, and they always draw eyeballs. They are just a juggernaut when it comes to TV ratings. The Niners also have the easiest schedule in the National Football League. In the first 9 games, 6 of them are on the road, but a lot of that travel is doable as we outlined. This is a big one here. The Niners have a plus 9-day rest advantage. Last year, they were at a minus 22 rest day disadvantage. That is a 31-day difference year over year. How crazy is that? Well, think about it in this way. The NFL schedule starts in September. October, November, December, goes into January. So the regular season is 4+ months. And the Niners now have a month more difference in their rest advantage to rest disadvantage from last year to this year. That's crazy. The Niners will also face no teams coming off bye weeks last year. They faced the most teams coming off bye weeks last year. They went 1-3 in those games. And in 8 of their final 10 matchups, the teams who the Niners will face will be coming off of road games. And so that rest disadvantage in 2024 looked as such. It was the worst in the NFL at minus 22. That's why you see the Niners up atop that chart. But then you look at the 2025 net rest days, and San Francisco is sitting there at number 4 behind the Lions, Dolphins, and Rams. They're at +9 there. They have only 2 weeks and 2 games on this schedule in which they have a rest disadvantage. That's week 13 and week 17. As for the Niners having the easiest NFL schedule, this is based on the opposing winning percentage from last year and the Vegas forecasted win totals for their opponents in 2025 as well. So the combined winning percentage for their opponents, 41.5%. So the Niners have a wonderful opportunity here to rebound from last year's 6-11 year, to win double-digit games. And if they don't win double-digit games, I think it is a disaster for John Lynch, Kyle Shanahan, and this organization. And if I'm the owner in Jed York, and I'm paying Kyle Shanahan $15+ million, and if I pay Brock Purdy $50 to $55 million, and they can't win double-digit games, get back into the playoffs, and be a factor for the Super Bowl conversation, this year can be chalked up as a huge failure. So after last year's brutal schedule and 6-11 finish, the Niners were due to have an easier slate in 2025. They certainly do so. And remember that question that I posed to start the show? Does the NFL believe that the Niners can bounce back? How about this stuff from Adam Schefter here on this news? It is set up, he said, for the 49ers to win. The NFL believes in the 49ers. They scheduled them on primetime 5 times, even after a 6-11 season. So the National Football League is saying the 49ers are going to be back after a 6-11 season. And they might be. But I'm just going to warn you. This is a team that has got a lot of holes right now, and we'll see how all of this shakes out. Adam Schefter said that on his podcast. He also said on ESPN, the Niners lost a lot more talent than what people realize. Yes, they lost a lot of talent, but a lot of the talent that they lost, older players and players who have been injured a lot. So this is why I think the 49ers can bounce back in 2025, put that 6-11 2024 season in the rear view, and be in the Super Bowl conversation once again. I think they are going to have better coaching in all 3 phases. Kyle Shanahan will rebound after his worst year as a head coach last season. Robert Saleh is a much better defensive coordinator compared to Nick Sorensen. And Brant Boyer is a take-no-prisoners, old-school football guy as the special teams coordinator who has been one of the more respected special teams coordinators in the NFL. The Niners also have the easiest schedule in the NFL. And you think about this roster makeup, there's a chance that they could start 5 starters who are rookies on the defensive side of the ball. This easier schedule allows them to get acclimated with the NFL. I think that Brock Purdy is also going to bounce back. I can't wait until he silences the haters. And I think that Brock Purdy, after having a very up and down 2024, will prove to be a top 10 quarterback once again in 2025. The injury luck for San Francisco and the injury misfortune for this team last year, it was terrible. But this upcoming season, I think it's going to be better. It has to, because the Niners are also a younger, athletic, and more dynamic team. As for the Niners being in the primetime spots once again, if you look over the last few years at the most watched television programs in America, they're all NFL games. And the Niners have been included in a lot of them. The Niners are not just a popular team that has American-wide recognition. They have worldwide recognition and traction. We're talking about one of the blue bloods of the NFL. We're talking about one of the most successful organizations in the history of this game. And they still have a bunch of marketable players in a huge market with the head coach and a general manager who everybody knows about. And there's a lot of interest around this team considering what they did this offseason, what they did in the draft, and looking ahead to 2025. Again, the Niners are a ratings juggernaut, and I think it's pretty telling that the NFL believes that San Francisco can bounce back. The odds makers in Vegas believe that the Niners can be successful. They have the 6th best Super Bowl odds among all teams in the NFL. They are the odds-on favorites to win the NFC West. That matters. So the question of the week is this: what will the Niners record be in 2025? As always, join the conversation down in the comment section right now. Looking ahead to this upcoming season for San Francisco, get your gear now. You never want to be too late. And with spring here, summer around the corner, you can always rock some Niners gear. If you want a Niners jersey, a polo, a shirt, a hat, some pants, some merchandise to add to your man cave, use our link down below, chatsports.com/49jersey, and you can get whatever you want. As far as the jersey selection, so many different players who are currently on this team, but then some throwbacks like Joe Montana, Jerry Rice, and Ronnie Lott. And if you use that link, Fanatics will know that Chase Sr., the 49ers Report, and Chat Sports sent you. It's chatsports.com/49jersey. We always appreciate Fanatics for being a partner with us here at Chat Sports. So remember a couple of weeks ago in the aftermath of the NFL draft how there was the news that the San Francisco 49ers signed veteran offensive tackle DJ Humphries? And that was a move that I had liked for the Niners. They took one offensive lineman in the NFL draft. They continued to ignore that position group. Backup tackle and swing tackle, a serious need coming out of the draft. And I'm like, okay, Niners addressed that with DJ Humphries, who primarily has been a left tackle. He did play one season as a right tackle. We're talking about a guy who came into the league with pedigree, first-round pick out of Florida, a Pro Bowler, a team captain. He tore his ACL at the end of the 2023 season. Then he signed with Kansas City. He had a bad year, but he wasn't healthy. Well, it looks as though that deal was never made official. Matt Mayoko, NBC Sports Bay Area, saying this: according to sources to Mayoko, there was no agreement between the Niners and DJ Humphries, as his agency announced on April 29th, and nothing appears imminent either. He remains a free agent. What? His agency announced that he had signed with San Francisco. Here's what Mayoko said on NBC Sports Bay Area. Veteran offensive tackle DJ Humphries has not agreed to terms with the Niners as previously reported. Multiple sources told NBC Sports Bay Area on Thursday. Humphries appeared to be heading to the Niners in the days after the 2025 NFL Draft. His representation announced on April 29th that the sides agreed to a deal, but that contract was not finalized and nothing appears imminent. Humphries remains a free agent after appearing in just 2 games in 2024. He's 31, 9-year NFL vet. He was a starter for the Cardinals for 8 years, starting all 98 games in which he appeared, but he sustained a torn ACL at the end of 2023. Cardinals released him. He spent most of last year rehabbing his knee before the Chiefs signed him to take over as their starting left tackle. He started in Kansas City's Week 14 game, played the entire game, but he sustained a hamstring injury that kept him out of action the next 3 games. And if you watch the tape, obviously a limited snap count for Humphries last year with Kansas City, it was not good. And the Pro Football Focus numbers, they were terrible. One of the lowest graded offensive tackles in football, but again, he barely played. This deal not being finalized might be the reason why a week ago today, San Francisco signed former first-round pick offensive tackle Andre Dillard. He was a first-round pick by the Eagles in 2019 out of Wazoo. And why they signed former third-round pick out of Ohio State, Nicholas Petit-Frere, who was let go by the Tennessee Titans. And so this Niners offensive line depth chart, a lot of questions here. Trent Williams is old. He's been injured a lot. Is he going to be able to stay healthy? If he goes down, we are looking at Andre Dillard, Austin Pleasance, Nicholas Petit-Frere, Isaac Alarcon, Sebastian Gutierrez, or Spencer Burford as a backup offensive tackle who would fill in there. Not good. At left guard, Ben Barch, Nick Zakel, Connor Colby, Spencer Burford, they'll compete for that spot. At center, more question marks. Jake Brendel, Matt Hennessy, Drake Nugent will compete there. At right guard, Dominic Pooney is a stud. And at right tackle, the Niners were content with Colton McKivitz being average. Going back to that tweet from DJ Humphries' agency, they literally put it out, agreed to terms, Humphries to the Niners, but ink was never put to paper. This deal could still get done, but it hasn't yet. Very, very weird.